Shit. Hold up. Shit. Alright, Shalom, y'all. I want to give all praise to Yahweh Shem Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the Akim out there, spreading this truth like wildfire. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners who look like the other nations, but their spirit beareth witness that they're the children of Yahweh Shem Shai. And shalom to the real sisters out there. Alright, I want to do a live on this. I titled this live Trump, Andrew Jackson, and Nero because basically, if you look at how this devil Donald Trump acts, how he moves and shit, is very similar to how these other two devils, how they moved and how they acted, and their policies and shit are very similar. And those of y'all that are new to the truth, y'all may be thinking, well, how can Donald Trump be Andrew Jackson, and how can he be Nero? Like, y'all may be thinking to yourself, how is that possible? Well, second, okay, in Ecclesiastes chapter 1, it talks about there's no new thing under the sun. Let me get it. Ecclesiastes chapter 1. Alright, Salaki about that. You know, I'm looking for that scripture in Ecclesiastes, which is basically, this is, it basically proves it. And it says that, in verse 9, the thing that had been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which should be done. This is not the only scripture that proves it, but it's one of them. And there is no new thing under the sun. So, no new thing under the sun. What is being done now was done before. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It had been already of old time, which was before us. So, y'all think what Trump is doing is new? Y'all think even that this man Trump, y'all think he's new? We ain't seen like no one like him. Like, we ain't seen him before. It had been already of old time, which was before us. So it's not new. It's just I would say, updated, repackaged version. So that's all it is, but the same thing. Verse 11, there is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after. There you go. Which is why you don't remember. Which is why this don't occur to you, or you don't understand why we say shit like this. You don't understand. You don't understand why we say Trump like he's Nero, or Obama was Nimrod, etc., right? You don't understand why we say that, because you think this is all new, because there's no remembrance of former things. But I'm gonna bring out how basically the shit that this devil Trump doing, the way he act, way he move, what he does, man, is the same shit that Andrew Jackson and that Nero were doing, basically, but it's for this time. Hold on, I'll get Alright, I'm back. Alright, so basically, what these devils are doing is, I'm gonna bring it out because you're gonna see the similarities if you haven't already seen them. Just look that up. Similarities between Trump and Andrew Jackson.
A lot of people have been saying the triumph of a man like Donald Trump is unprecedented in American history, but our history desk disagrees with that. Our historian-in-chief, Chris Wolf, is here to explain. So, Chris, who's on your mind?
Old Hickory, the hero of New Orleans, the champion of the common man, bloody Andrew Jackson, 7th President of the United States from 1829 to 1837, father of both the Democratic Party and arguably the father of modern politics.
All right, so what are the parallels?
Let's start with the hair. We all know the face from the $20 bill, but take a look at that big unruly shock of hair.
What a pompadour that is.
It was red, just to give you a sense of the immediate parallel. But he was also extremely controversial, charismatic, combative, quick-tempered, unpredictable, showy, self-publicizing, and a genius of marketing.
Okay, so that's a fairly strong case. What about the differences, though?
Maybe
Andrew Jackson, unlike Donald Trump, was very much the self-made man. He had been a poor orphan, but made his fortune first as a lawyer and then in real estate speculation. And then there's the undoubted courage he showed in the service of his country. He fought in numerous wars against the British, the Spanish, and various Native American peoples, and he got his nickname Old Hickory from repeatedly exposing himself to the enemy's fire and never getting hit. Now he did get shot a couple of times while dueling and brawling, but not in battle against those various enemies.
Did Andrew Jackson have a lot of populist support?
He saw himself and was seen by the American people as the champion of the little man. He took the grievances of the little man, which were many, the ordinary farmer and the mechanic, and hurled them against what he called the aristocracy of the few, the established political elite of the East Coast cities, personified for Andrew Jackson by John Quincy Adams, a cosmopolitan diplomat, son of a president, John Adams, and he basically took the political establishment, shook it up and threw it out. So that part of his background is kind of similar to the Donald. But there's also another part of his background that's similar to the real estate speculation based on very controversial deals. He basically established a futures market in the lands of various Native American peoples, which was not actually up for sale. But he traded and obtained various plots of land. Eventually, part of this became the city of Memphis, which he founded in 1819. The other interesting parallel that people might like to know is that he was also the victim of the first deliberate smear campaign during the 1828 presidential election.
So how did Andrew Jackson actually do as president?
Here's some
depends
proud
whose history
mates.
you read. He was semi-deified by the Democratic Party later in the 19th century. They even adopted a nickname of his as a badge of honor. The donkey that you see as the Democratic Party emblem was a deliberate play on his name. They called him Jackass Jackson in the 1828 election campaign. So he definitely shook up the political establishment. He was very responsive to public opinion. He was seen as a bit of a, what we'd call in Old England, a nutter. He was not someone you bluffed with. If he made a threat, you were pretty sure he could well carry that out, like he could push the button. And that helped him actually preserve the Union when South Carolina threatened to secede over a tariff reform. He made a pretty believable threat and eventually got the South Carolinians to back down. He did take on big business. He even shut down the central bank of the time, the second bank of the United States. But that led to a boom based on easy credit, which was followed by the inevitable crash, causing the worst depression that the country had ever seen up to that point, 4 years before there was any kind of recovery. But that largely got blamed on his successor. The much bigger blot to a lot of people's minds, especially in the 21st century, is the policy that was called back then Indian removal. There was obviously
Right.
tens of thousands
Israelite
of
removal.
Native American people in both
That's what
what's
they was
now
doing.
the southern states and also the Midwestern states, as we call them now, that were basically forced to leave their ancestral homelands, and
He
thousands
stole
died along
land
the
from
way.
them.
And, you know, there's an argument to be made, given the kind of interest that Jackson had in trading in those lands, that this was really in the interests of real estate speculation
And
rather
it
than
was as
national
well.
security. And some people
Also
have
had that
accused him
hatred.
of
Hey,
almost genocidal actions
what
against
Donald Trump
Native
has in
Americans.
common
And
with
then
this
Alexis de
devil as
Tocqueville,
well.
the great narrator of American politics in the early 19th century, he was not impressed with Jackson at all. He just thought he was trading on his reputation as a general, and
he got
particularly
that,
highlighted his disregard for institutions and the law.
He got
All right,
that,
I know
that
you
hatred.
won't go reaching for straws, but do you think
And he's
any of
proud
this
about
Andrew
that
Jackson
hatred.
history prefigures
Just like,
today?
Just like
Well,
this
we can't
devil
possibly
is.
tell
Just
the future or
like,
what
hey,
kind
just like
of
how
president
Nero
Donald
was.
Trump
I'm
is
going
going to
that
be.
next.
I think the only real comparison is to say that Trump actually fits in to an established American political tradition of charismatic, populist, anti-establishment, proto-demagogues, let's call them, who periodically come along, shake things up, but don't necessarily leave the world a better place.
Because
The world's
he's
one-man
a
history
devil
desk,
too.
Chris Wolf. Thanks very much for this.
He's a devil
You're welcome,
too.
Marco.
Yeah, this dude, as you can see, man, that's that same devil come back. You know, hey, Donald Trump, man, he obviously hates you Jakes, and he makes it obvious. And so did this devil. He made that shit obvious. Let me pull that up. Was already famous examples of him saying shit about you Jakes, for example, you so-called Mexicans. He called y'all that. He called y'all rapists and drug dealers. Basically, yeah, he did, because he said that Mexico don't send its best. They send rapists, drug dealers. Basically, yeah, rapists and drug dealers. That's what he said. And some, I assume. Yeah, I assume are good people. He's letting you. He's throwing doubt even in that. Because when you assume something, do you say I assume? No, not generally. Yeah. So, hey, we know he was demonizing Jake. And then there's actually a quote by him at a rally. He actually told these Edomites that they have good genes.
You're going to win so much, and you're going to send Jason to the U.S. Senate, and you're going to keep winning and winning and winning. You're going to win on trade, you're going to win on the military, you're going to win on everything you touch. Minnesota's going to keep on winning, and you're going to get tired of winning, because Minnesota doesn't want to win all the time. Your football team is going to win in the Big Ten, they say, right? No, we're going to keep on
Proud
winning
ass
in
devil, you
Minnesota,
can
and
see
you're
it.
going to get so tired, you're going to say, Jason, please, Jason, Go to the president. See him in the Oval Office.
Hey,
Stop him from
we're
winning.
proud.
We're winning too
Hey,
much in
man,
Minnesota.
openly
We can't stand
proud.
it, Jason. Please.
Openly proud
Please,
to be
Jason,
so-called
stop
white.
him from winning so much for Minnesota. We can't take it. We're not used to it because we went through years in their
And
families.
Swatch,
They were
Swatch.
tough and they were strong. You have good genes, you know that, right?
You have good genes, you know that,
You
right?
have good genes. A lot of it's about the genes, isn't it? Don't you believe? The racehorse theory, you think we're so different? You have good genes in Minnesota.
Welcome to 24/7.
There you go.
This
There
is
you
our
go.
HQ, where we have all the monitors to be able to check
There you
what's
go.
going on every single cable news channel.
The
across America.
proud ass
We
devil.
always need you to get involved. We give you the stories. You just react in any way you like. Number one way you can be part of us here, though, is to subscribe. Just join the button there.
Yeah, and where was he at? Where was he at? In Minnesota, the same place where they shot that Jake, that same state, and in the area that's basically known to be a so-called white area. So Esau, predominantly Edomite area. And what was he telling them? You have good genes, you know that, right? So-called white supremacy. There you go. That's so-called white supremacy. They believe that they have good genes. They have, better genes than your Jakes. Because what does he say about you, Jakes? He says that they calls them dumb. They have shithole countries. All that shit. All that shit, man. All that shit. Then you have so he is obviously a so-called white supremacist, and he actually makes it obvious. Yeah, and this devil, and he hates, so he makes it obvious. He makes it obvious. And this devil co-founded the city of Memphis in 1819. With land acquired in this way, what way? Stolen. They were not his to buy and sell, man. He helped negotiate treaties with these people. Well, they would get you Jakes drunk. They would get you so-called Native Americans, you Gadites, y'all really Native Israelites of the tribe of Gad. He would get y'all drunk. And then this devil, what he would do is he would, once you were drunk, of course, you was intoxicated, not in your right mind, and he would basically fuck you over. And that's what, amen, like the, amen, I was watching a video by a brother, maybe an elder, elder from GMS Solemn Assembly, and that's what these devils would do. They would get y'all drunk. And they would then they would take your shit, act like your friend, be your drinking buddy, but the whole time he's plotting on you, trying to fuck you over. Hey, that's several scriptures. Let me get them. That's Habakkuk. This is an obvious one. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 15. There you go. also verse 5. Let me get that. He was the quintessential devil. You know, he was an Edomite of Edomites. He was an Edomite. He was an Edomite ass Edomite, pretty much. And, you know, this is what these devils did, including him. You know, he helped negotiate those treaties. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 15. Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that putteth thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken, also that thou mayest look on their nakedness. That's what these devils did throughout history. That isn't a literal example of that. And also like that elder from GMS Solemn Assembly. I believe he's an elder, you know. You may just be an advocate. But, you know who I'm referring to, man. He came out with that video talking about he also, in that video, talking about Esau, the man of sin. You know, Esau, he hates the truth. The father of lies hates the truth. Because he wants to re-educate you to so-called, to love, he wants to re-educate you to love America, love Babylon. You know, because all this truth is coming out about him, you know. This verse 16 happening. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of Yahweh Shai, right hand, shall be turned unto thee. So that cup that Yahweh has in his right hand shall, you know, that cup that we had to drink of, shall be turned unto thee, you know. He's going to drink of that cup, which is compared to strong drink, and is going to be very strong drink. And shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. And that's a shameful spewing is being put on this devil's glory, you know. Hey, that reminds me of the Walmart clothes brand Faded Glory. His glory is fading, because shameful spewing is being put on his glory. You know, verse 17, for the violence of Lebanon shall cover thee, and the spoil of beasts, which made them afraid because of man's blood, for the violence of the land and of the city and of all that dwell therein. Yeah, man. The violence of Lebanon, you know. What did you recently have in Beirut? That bombing. It was a bombing, man. It was actually, brothers say it was a mini nuke, and, you know, I could see that could be true. It was a tactical nuke. You know, could be. It was an airstrike. It was a bombing for sure. It was not no accident. Like, even that devil Trump will tell you that. So violence of Lebanon shall cover thee, and the spoil. And so it's exposed that these Amalekites was behind that. And the spoil of beasts, which, you know, you so-called Jews, you so-called white people, y'all are the same people. Y'all do the same shit. Y'all move the same way. You know, you're both devils. Just one calls themselves one type, one tribe calls themselves Jewish, and another call themselves so-called white. You have different tribes of Edomites, and a bunch of them call themselves so-called white, and then you have the tribe of Amalek, which, you know, they call themselves Jewish. And then you also have some that just call themselves Turks, because the Khazarians is a Turkic people. And basically those, you look into it, man. You know. But, you know, the most well-known ones call themselves Jewish. And so, the violence of Lebanon shall cover thee in the spoil of beasts, which made them afraid, because of man's blood, and for the violence of the land, and of the city, and in all that dwell therein. You know, this devil's a violent man. That's why one of the Psalms it said, keep me, I believe so. I believe it's in Psalms it said, keep me from the violent man. That's why we gotta stay away from the man who has power to kill. That's Esau, Edom, that's the sword. And hey, this devil, man, yeah, that's why you enter not into the path of the wicked and go not in the way of evil men. There you go. That's why you do that. And these devils are the wicked. You know. And Trump, this devil Trump, you know, he has a admiration for Andrew Jackson. So do these devils. And these Jakes would these devils, I mean, yeah, man, he benefited from slavery and all that. He was a slave trader, he's a merchant. Hey, Donald Trump, man, he's militaristic aid, you know. Andrew Jackson, you know, he was a whole general, man. He actually declared martial law in New Orleans when that shit happened. When that during the War of 1812. He was killing his own enemies and shit. He was, and he would yeah, man, he was a real devil. He was a real devil. Other devils hated him. And yeah, he was so-called anti-establishment or whatever. But he was a devil. He was the wicked too. And he killed Jake. They say that some historians and activists call the act of genocide. What the fuck? What the fuck? Nah, yeah, these are proud devils. They're obviously proud of that. They're obviously proud of that shit, you know. Proud devils, they don't admit. Esau don't admit to doing shit wrong. So of course they're gonna justify the shit. They gonna justify the shit, of course. Let me get it over. I don't get his similarities to Nero. that he compares himself. He actually has his picture right when he's speaking. They both were devils. They were still fucking devils, though. It's just, hey man, it's just Esau versus Esau, basically. They basically demonized him because he was against the elite bankers. Not because of that. Not because of what Andrew Jackson did to Jake and what how Trump is towards our people as well. Proud ass devil. Hey, them same devils and them same people that supported that devil, they support this devil. Real shit. Shit. Yeah. this article from The Hill, which basically shows these devils are shows that these two devils basically was doing the same shit. And how it starts off with, it hit the old adage that one is doomed to repeat history if ignorant of it should be a current siren call for Democrats. So what I just read, it kind of matches up with what I just read in Ecclesiastes chapter 1. That verse 9, the thing that had been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. And verse 10, is there anything, all the way verse 11, is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new, yet had been already of old time, which was before us. It matches up. And in verse 11, there is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come. You know, but those that shall come after. So you basically, you get the point. You get the point. It basically lines up with that. It says America lived through a Trump-like presidency for almost 200 years ago, Andrew Jackson. And Jackson's ideology outlived his presidency by some 20 years. Which, you know, this place is going down. It's about fucking time. So, it ain't gonna do the same. What Donald Trump's could do if history repeats itself. Nah. We ain't got 20 more years in this bitch. This place is through. And, you know, this devil's playing a large role in that. One grew up an orphan and impoverished. The other was gifted with generational wealth by his father. One became a war hero and the other Dodge service. Yet America's seventh President Jackson approaches governing in a manner that mirrors Trump's in many ways. Ain't something else, because this devil, you know, he's also Nero. Gotta be, man. It's very, you know, he does the same shit as Nero as well. He acts like him. He even looks like Nero. This devil, you know, he's very similar to Nero. So, hey, man. He's also him. And Nero, he was Caesar before, and we're going in the years leading up to, years leading up to 70 AD. So you got, that's pretty heavy too, because the time we're coming up to is, you know, it's basically 70 AD part 2, involving the Northern Kingdom as well. That's what it is. And this devil, Andrew Jackson, he openly showed his hatred for the Northern Kingdom as well as the Southern. Yeah. Alright, let me get into it. Jackson ran for president against a former president's son. The political establishment and corporate elites, you know, already sounded familiar, and won by making himself a champion of the common man. So basically, this is the image that he shows of himself. He lost his first race against John Quincy Adams when he received the most electoral college votes. Hey, but he knows who runs his ass at the same time. But not a majority of the electoral college vote, which kicked the election to the Congress, who selected Adams. Jackson dubbed it a stolen election and coined the phrase the corrupt bargain. he spent the following 4 years claiming he was robbed, and voters ultimately joined them in anger. So, hey, these devils, this devil Trump, he constantly be saying, "Oh, they're gonna steal the election with the election fraud and shit. They're gonna these Jakes, these so-called Mexicans are gonna show up to the polls, and they're gonna steal the election. Illegal immigrants, what they call these so-called Mexicans. They call you Ishkarites, illegal immigrants, and they say that y'all gonna show up to the polls and vote, basically vote Democrat. Basically, it also shows you that the two parties, they switch tactics. Like, I wouldn't say sides, but tactics. How they push the agenda. It used to be the Democratic Party that was doing the shit that the Republican Party is doing today. I had that same stance, use the same tactics. You're gonna see. Yeah. He spent the following 4 years claiming he was robbed, and voters ultimately joined him in anger. Okay, so he was telling people that shit was rigged, basically. And if the elites had it set up, where Hillary Clinton was, where she had won, then guess what Trump would have been doing? There would have even been a civil war. I believe so. So he would have been riling up all these everyday devils, these everyday average devils, as well as, you gotta be honest, as well as, to be honest, man, some of our know nothing people, basically. People that are people, man, that are confused, that look like Esau, basically. But what are they acting like Esau? Well, they act like they're basically on the same side as these proud devils. So, so that's besides the point. The whole point is the same people that this devil Trump is basically pandering to. And he began his second, so this is what he did. It's a very, what they would call a Trumpian thing to do. And he began his second campaign solidifying his political base in the South in rural areas by throwing gasoline on the fire of the resentment and belief that East Coast elites were living off the taxes and labor of hardworking and decent regular folks. I mean, shit already sounds familiar. It's always been that beef. Oh, the coastal elites, right? The coastal elites versus us. Oh, we're the real Americans and shit. There's always been that beef, and it's still there today. And these same people, they're for Donald Trump. That same resentment. Hey, the coastal elites. Well, this time, of course, including the West Coast as well. Indeed, Jackson was a folk hero with little education and considered uncouth. Basically what they say about Trump. Always say he tell how it is. Showing his hatred, basically. And not giving a shit. Like, uncouth, right? Basically tell how it is. There you go. Which these devils, which all he's doing is pandering to that base, but Like, he really does hate you Jakes like that. Jackson connected with people. He was a warrior hero, lionized for winning the Battle of New Orleans. And okay, that's Trump, he is different in the way that he didn't fight in the military. He didn't fight in the military. He was a draft dodger. And he was talking about, oh, I had a fucking a spur in his foot and shit. I believe, yeah. A spur in his foot, and a bone spur in his foot. Basically, oh, I have a bone spur, so I can't fight. And he's actually like, hey, but that's what's, hey, but he's militaristic as fuck, just like he was. Hey, besides that, man, he was known to be easily angered, held grudges, and said what he was thinking and thought himself an infallible judge of others. So basically, a proud devil. What Jackson said had in his favor was the first authorized campaign biography, The Life, John Henry Eaton's The Life of Andrew Jackson. And don't Donald Trump have his own fucking book? The Art of the Deal and shit. Maybe another one they have. But the Art of the Deal is definitely what he's known for. Which created public fascination with the private man and flowered into the cult of personality, the same shit you have here. So that's why they call Trump supporters, that's why they're called Cult 45, because basically it's a cult of personality that revolves around this man. A cult means worship, and these devils, they worship Donald Trump, man. They love them some Donald Trump. They're all about, they love them some Donald Trump. You can't do nothing wrong in their eyes, man. And Trump say do something, Trump say something true, something false, they're like, yeah, must be. They're with it all the way. Of course some more than others, but you get the point. Nancy Eisenberg and Andrew Bernstein, two so-called Jews, wrote for the journal Democracy. For the flattering portrayal, Jackson named Eaton Secretary of War and then the territorial governor of Florida. And you see these devils that they kiss Trump's ass. It's obvious he promotes them. He basically said, he told this devil, told me, loyalty is very important to me. So what does that mean? If they basically told a line, they kiss his ass, man. Oh, I'm gonna promote you and shit. It's the same shit being done. It's the same shit being done. And then what you have, okay. Yeah, the book and numerous southern newspapers. So think of Fox News, that one station, that One America News Network, that channel. Think of publications like that, as well as these so-called, these alt-right publications that they big up Donald Trump. Think of those, man. And that's basically them back in their lot. You know, many of them southern newspapers today, a lot of them would be for Trump. Which, you know, you have exceptions, but hey, man, you get the point. Helped grow the man's reputation, and Jackson played into the role of a swashbuckling, swaggering strongman. So basically, how Trump shows himself, and now portray how they portray him, man. Oh, Trump gonna make America great again. Oh, Trump, oh, so-called God Emperor Trump, right? How they show him. You know, hey, that should show you this is the Roman Empire all over again as well. And, you know, it goes into what I'm saying next, what I'm gonna bring out next about that devil Nero and his similarities to to that devil Trump. Why I believe they're the same. That's the same man. That's the same soul come back. For the 20 previous years, American government was dominated by the Democratic Republican Party created by Thomas Jefferson and James Madison. You know, so basically goes into how the elites, you know, basically the so quote unquote establishment, the establishment of these two parties, they basically, it's the same. They're on the same shit. So for the 20 previous years, American government was dominated by the Democratic Republican Party created by Thomas Jefferson and James Madison. Those devils. Jackson's views were so out of the political mainstream that so think of like a fucking created by, think of how the modern Democrat, modern Republican Party is, and they're basically their establishment. Ah, fuck.